We're going to do something called plantar flexion or pointing of the ankle. And so we're going to work on that plantar flexion or ability to point that ankle. So we're going to set this up as a Pails and a rails, working on that end range of plantar flexion. Remember, with our Pails and rails, we do a full 2-minute stretch, making that tissue relax, get the fibers to start to lengthen and let go. Then we're going to do contraction of the tissue we're stretching. So that's going to be the front line tissue where it's going to contract up against the isometric load, so we don't want is non-moving. And then our regressive tissue, which is contraction of the opposite, so the other chain, into regressive, so coming out of that, isometric again, so you're not actually going to move. Pails and the rails are contracted once you get to max for up to 10 seconds maximum, okay? So to set this up, I'm going to use a couple blocks. You can use what you have on hand, or you can just use, if your plantar flexion is not too bad, you can just use a flat floor as well. So it all depends, right? So I'm going to set up and I'm going to put one knee onto a block here. And this is just so I can work on this back leg here. So I'm going to get into here and I'm putting my foot up here. And if you can see this here, what I'm actually getting, you can bias that further along to get more stretch through the front of this tissue, depending on what level you can handle. So you can have the block just here, you can have your foot hanging down if yours is quite restricted, and so then you can just put it to whatever level works for you. You can even use a foam roller or something like that, right? So what we're gonna do, so pop a block under if you need to feel me, but I'm actually fine with this. So I'm gonna get into this tissue, I'm gonna get this stretch to the front there. I'm gonna inch forward till I find my stretch. And I'm slowly sitting back, only to what you can handle. So don't sit back if you can't. You can stay right up here and add just a tiny bit of load, whatever your body can handle. If your body can handle more, then load through that tissue, hold that. This is our passive stretch you hold for 2 full minutes. After 2 minutes, we're gonna do our Pails and our rails. So my first contraction is my foot, and all this tissue on here is going to try and drive into the block. I'm gonna stay where I am, so I'm not gonna change this position at all. I'm gonna solidify, I'm gonna start ramping, pushing down, 20, 40, 60 to my greatest effort, holding that down. Once I get max, I'm holding for up to 10 seconds. Hold, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release that contraction and rails. So that's your toes and your foot trying to contract up, all the posterior training trying to come. You may cramp here. This is normal. Just work through it if you can. Holding up to 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Breathe. Let it relax. If you can sink more, then do so, or move the block back to make it harder and you get that stretch through there. So that's working the plantar flexion of the ankle. Afterwards, make sure you upload with a few ankle cars, doing a few reps, going to the full end ranges of your motion.